Hello everyone, welcome back to my knowledge share session. Learn with me. In today's session, we are going to look into a powerful yet often underutilized capability of SAP Integration suite that is called executing a HANA stored procedures directly from the IFlow. Okay, so you may have a question that why I need the this facility like executing a stored procedure directly from the iFlow. Okay. Calling a stored procedure directly from an iFlow offers a major advantage. It allows you to centralize common business logic at a database level while keeping your integration flow lean and efficient. Instead of writing the same logic in a multiple places or overloading your iFlow with a heavy processing, you delegate that to a HANA where it is optimized to run. This not only improves performance but also ensures consistency, reusability, and easier maintenance across your landscape. Okay. In that sense, what we are going to do is today we will see the basic setups required to do this in terms of how we are going to write a stored procedure in the HANA level and what are the connection setups we have to do it at the cloud connector because we are going to work on a on-premises HANA and how we are going to set up a JDBC adapter connection at the iFlow level. Sorry, integration suite level. Finally, we create an iFlow and we will execute once. Okay.
Okay, before going to start our thing, let me give the basic idea or a background why we need this kind of situation like calling a stored procedure from the iFlow. Okay, so this is the basic setup which we are going to work on. The right side we are going to have the HANA system which is an on-premises. In that I have a lot of stored procedures. I assume that all of you know about what I mean by stored procedures. However, I will give a brief definition in a while. So we have the stored procedures which are already created in the HANA database. And second thing is the cloud connector. The cloud connector is the handshake between your BTP system to your on-premises. So we will define all your accessible resources, right? And finally, the cloud platform where I will define my JDBC connection. So the JDBC connection, whatever I am defining here, will have a reference to the cloud connector pointing. The cloud connector will have a TCP protocol that will connect to the HANA database. So this is the setup thing. I have already created one video on a JDBC adapter video. You can review on that what are the steps required. So we will be doing the same thing here also. Okay. Now let us go see a small business scenario where this kind of stored procedure execution will be required. Okay, let us take one small example, a retail company that operates across multiple locations. Okay, every day and night, a stored procedure in the HANA database aggregates all the daily sales data which are received from the point of sale terminal. Assume that our integration flow is going to push the point of sale data to the HANA system. Once the data is received, this stored procedure has to aggregate this data in a way of by store or by product or by region, like that, whatever the business logic required for it. So this is where the store procedure comes in picture. Okay, this is the business need. At the end of the every day, after receiving a data, the store procedure has to aggregate the data such that a SAC dashboard system will utilize this aggregated data, some reporting to the regional managers, and there are some APIs will give you the aggregated data. So this is how the business is required, and a store procedure will be developed accordingly. Okay, what is the role of the IFlow here? Role of the IFlow is it will push the data from the point of sale terminal to the HANA system as a normal integration process. Once the integration process is completed, the store procedure has to be executed immediately. So how we will know that the data is completed and the store procedure has to execute it? We cannot define a job because we are not sure about at what time the data is completed, right? So we have to club the execution of the store procedures along with the integration process. So in our IFlow, when the data is pulled, then the integration flow itself has to trigger the store procedure. Okay, this is the exact situation what we are going to have, and how to do that we will see it. Okay, now just a simple definition. What is a store procedure? A store procedure is a combination of multiple SQL statements in a sequence to complete a specific task, right? Just I read out now. In SAP HANA is a pre-compiled block of SQL logic that performs a specific task like data transformation, validation, and complex business logic execution. Think of it as a reusable function that lives inside the database. Instead of repeatedly writing the same SQL logic, you encapsulate it once inside a procedure, and it is called whenever it is needed. It is just like a PLSQL in the Oracle database, or it is like a program which is completely written in a SQL script that will execute some business logic. So this is especially used when you want to handle a complex operation at the database layer, not at the application layer. Improve the performance by reducing the networks, and maintain and secure business logic at one central place. Okay, why execute a store procedure from the IFlow, which I already explained you. Interact directly with the backend, triggers a data processing job, because when you return a store procedure and put it on a job, the job will be executed at a specific time, but you may not sure that the data required for the job may be completed or not. So we have to have a combination, like you have to tag the execution of store procedure along with the IFlow, so that at the time of completion of your IFlow, the store procedure has to be executed. So there should be a call statement from the IFlow itself. That is what we are going to do it now. Okay. So what we are going to cover now, we are going to have a quick overview on store procedure. I am going to write a very small procedure which is not going to have a big logic, and I will do the in the cloud connector. I will show how I am connecting it, and in the BTP side I am going to show you how the adapter is JDBC adapter connection is established, and one sample IFlow, and a payload template is very important in this place. I will explain you once we are in IFlow. And by end of this tutorial, you will have a working example of calling as HANA stored procedure from the IFlow. Okay. So the connection prerequisites are, as I told you, in the HANA database, we should have a stored procedure, and we should have a cloud connector, and we should have a BTP tenant system. Okay, having these three in picture, we will now go one by one. Now I will log into the HANA Studio and will create one small procedure, and we will execute the procedure in the HANA Studio itself and make sure that it is working. Then we will come to the cloud connector. Okay. Okay, and now I am inside the HANA Studio. So let us see the stored procedure, how we are going to create it and how we will execute it inside the HANA Studio itself so that it works fine. We'll make sure that it is working fine, and then we'll move it to the we will execute the same procedure from the IFlow. To create a HANA procedure, stored procedure inside the HANA Studio, we should go to the repository perspective. So I connected to the development server. So inside the development server, I have multiple packages. Okay. In one of the package, I say test1. I created a couple of procedures. Okay. I will open a already created procedure. So this is how the procedure will look like. So how to create a procedure and what are the different types of procedures, we will have a separate session on separate series on this HANA Studio itself, like creating a views, analytical views, calculation views, and procedures, etc. So in this we will see the already exist focus only on the execution of this procedure from the IFlow. Okay, so this is how the procedure will look like. The procedure name is the fully qualified procedure name with your alias name and the package name and the procedure name. So this procedure is having one output parameter. Okay, no input parameter, only one output parameter, and these are all the common format for the procedure. Language is SQL script, and this SQL security invoker, that is whoever it create who can execute it. And this procedure is by default its schema on the same user, because I logged in as a SAC user, SAC user, so I am going to put it on the same default schema, SAC only. And since this procedure is going to insert a record in a table, so this statement should not be there. If you use this read SQL data as means, then this procedure will be used only to query a data, not to update any tables, right? But in this procedure I am going to update one table, so that I commented this out. So finally the procedure will look like what the procedure is going to do. It is going to insert some data in one of my SZ table and going to return a value called 1. Okay, this is what the simple procedure is. So effectively think like this procedure is going to do some business logic and do some calculations, and finally it's going to update some table. This is what the actual business scenario would be, but for our demonstration purpose I am not going to write a big procedure. Just execute this procedure from a IFlow, and this procedure is going to insert some data inside one table, that we will see it. inside the table whether it is inserted or not. Okay. So just a review. This is the procedure, and this procedure is going to return me a value 1 and going to put some data inside this table called UZSA users. Okay. Okay. Now what I will do is I will execute this procedure, and I will execute this procedure because so I will change this name test2 to test2 because this is a primary key. So we shouldn't have any error. So I made this value unique and I will activate it. Okay, this is activated now. So now what I will do is I will execute this procedure. I will execute this procedure now. I will go to my system perspective and I will say SQL. Okay, the syntax will be call. Executing procedure will be call as usual the alias name or a schema name and the package name and the procedure. Okay, my procedure is M4 and it has a output parameter only, so this is the syntax with a question mark. Okay, now we'll execute it. So this is executed successfully. This is executed successfully and the value is written as 1. Okay, so far it is working fine. So what? Okay, now I will go to the database and show you whether the data is inserted or not. Okay, and the database, what is the level? Is it the users? See, the test2 is inserted. Okay, so now we will execute the same procedure from the IFlow. Okay, so what I am going to do is, since it is a unique ID, I will change this procedure to test3 and save it. Test3 and save it, then I will activate it. Okay, so now from the IFlow I am going to call this statement so that the exactly same business things should happen. Okay, it should insert a record inside the C table. Okay, now we will go to IFlow. I will execute it in a Postman, then I will show it. Okay, now I am inside the IFlow. I will explain you what I have done in that. Let me adjust it. Okay, this is my IFlow where I am going to connect it to the HANA server. Okay, as you know, this is the sender which I am going to connect it via the HTTPS adapter, and this is the request reply. A request reply will be connected to a receiver via the JDBC adapter. Okay, this is what the important adapter which connect to the HANA server. Okay, For this, the property is very simple. In the connection, I will be giving a data source name which I already defined in the monitoring section. For more detail about how to do this connection and cloud connector, you can refer to my one of my video. I will put that video description in that my description page. You can refer that. Okay. So this is how the connection is established, and I have a exception subprocess. If at all any error, the exception subprocess will give me the error message. So as such, the IFlow is very simple. Okay. Now we will go to the Postman and execute this IFlow. Okay. Okay, now I am inside the Postman. Now we will execute this IFlow by passing the appropriate payload to execute either the SQL statement or the procedure, database procedure or stored procedure. Okay. So remember that this IFlow is made of a JDBC adapter. Okay. So the JDBC adapter is used to connect to your database server directly from the IFlow. The point which we should understand now is the JDBC adapter can accept the value in the form of XML, so that it can understand what you want to execute, whether you want to execute a SQL statement or you want to execute a procedure. So once you send the payload, the JDBC adapter should be able to understand what you are trying to do it. So accordingly, we have two types of XML template which will be used for executing a stored procedure or executing a SQL statement. Okay. Now we will see one by one how we are going to execute it, the SQL and the procedure. Okay. Now let us take, first we will take one SQL statement. This is the SQL statement which is going to read data from select data from a calculation view. Okay. I am going to execute a calculation view that will return me as a row set. Okay, this is the select statement. Okay, now we will run this select statement directly in the Postman. Okay. This will work. Remember, when you give the select statement directly, this will work. However, the best practice would be use the appropriate XML template. Before coming to the XML template, I will just executing this directly and show you. Okay, I will put a var class also here, where mandt equal to 110. Okay, I will send it. Now it will work. See, now the result has come. It takes almost 1 minute. Okay, so leave it. So you have the row set return. So this is one way of executing a select statement or consuming a data from a database view or a calculation view directly from the native database. Okay, but however, when you, apart from the select statement, if you execute any call statement, call procedure statement, this will not work. So how to execute using a XML template, that we will see now. Let me open one. Let us take this SQL only directly now. Okay, so SQL template is like this. First you will have a root. Okay, then you will have a statement name, then you will have your query name and what action you want to select. So in this case, action will be select, because you are going to execute a select statement. So action will be select, and table will tell you the database object name with the schema, package and the actual name. Then this access tag will tell you the number of columns you want to fetch it. So you have to specifically mention what are all the columns you are going to select it. The key tag will tell you the where class, whether you want to filter something else. If your query is having an input parameter, then you will specifically for the calculation view you may have some input parameter. So if it is any parameter, you have to specify the parameter. That's all. Now again the tag will end. This is the actual template for the querying a select statement from the postman or in the payload for the IFlow. Okay, so just pause your video and note it down, the XML template if you want. Okay, now what I will do is I already created one template for the one which I already executed. So I give the root, I give the name as M4Q, which this you can give any name. Then I give my flag. This is my EV HRO sales is my calculation view name. Then action equal to select, and this is the view name, right? Schema name, package name, and the view name. Then these are all the columns I am going to fetch it. My entity, data of business, restaurant name, gross sales, discount, and tax. And I am going to execute the where class where this MA entity, which will say comparison operator equal to EQ, and what is the value you want to fetch it, 120. Okay. Then there is no parameter, so I did not use any parameter file. So now we will execute this XML statement in the payload. Okay, I will copy paste. I will put it here. I will clear this. Now I will execute it. See, it has written 120. So it returned the XML file as an output. Okay. Now what we are going to do is we are going to execute the store procedure. Okay. The store procedure template is similar. You will have a root element and you will have a statement name, which whatever the name you want to give it. Then you have a store procedure name, and action is this time instead of select it should be execute. After that you will have a table name. The table will refers the your store procedure name. As usual, the store procedure will have a input parameter. So the parameter, whether it is an input or whether it is an output or whether it is an in-out. So that depends on the things you will specify here. And finally result set. Result set is for output only. So for the payload you need not to mention, but at the output of your IFlow you will get the result set if this procedure is going to return some data. Okay, that's it. You can pause the video and note down this XML. Okay, this is the XML structure. The similar way, I have the procedure name. I have the procedure called this one M4, which is going to update some data in a table and return me some value as 1. If it is success, if it will return as 1. So I am going to execute this procedure. So the same way I created root and give me any name, M4Q I give it. My view name is, you can give anything. I will give M4, execute, and this also I will give M4. Okay, is the view name, and I will give action is execute, and the table will tell you the actual procedure name, and it is going to give me an output which is exactly of type varchar. And in the procedure, whatever the actual parameter name you are given, you have to give the same name, right? So here I give v1. In my procedure also it is v1 only. So you have to mention the same name here. If the inside the procedure, if a parameter name was something else x, and if you put this v1 here, then it will give error. So this value should match exactly the name of your parameter. Okay, now I will execute this XML in the Postman. Okay, this I will clear it. Okay, now I will execute it. It gave me some error. What is that? Test M4 line 1. Unique constraint violation error. So it is trying to execute. It is trying to execute some the procedure. In the procedure, I have a insert statement which is giving me the unique constraint error. So this is how it will be executed, because the procedure is failed, but you are able to execute the procedure from the Postman. Okay. Now we will see the procedure now, and what exactly, and I will execute it again. Okay, and this is the table name which I am going to insert from the procedure. I will execute it now. So there are 3 records now. Okay. Now again I will execute the same procedure now. I deleted the duplicate records. I will clear response. Now I will execute it again. See, it is updated now. Right, now it has to, if I refresh it, see, this record is inserted. Okay, when I re-execute now, if this ID is because the procedure is going to generate a new ID every time. If it generated, then it will insert. Okay, let me try again. Yeah, because it was generating the same name, so it is giving me any constraint error. Okay, that's it. Hope now you understand. This is the IFlow. This is the IFlow, which is going to get a payload as a input. Based on the payload XML type, it will connect to the database server and execute the relevant object and give you the result back. If any exception, you are getting the exception error in this during the exceptions are process. Okay. Hope now you are able to understand how you are going to connect to a on-premises database server directly and execute the native database object from the IFlow. Okay. Hope this session will be helpful to you, and please do comment. Please put your remarks and questions. I will be very happy to reply you back. Okay. Thank you so much for watching.